Mozambique is going to the polls. But democracy remains fragile ever since its terrible civil war. Reminders of that bloody conflict are everywhere.
Landmines. Mozambique is littered with them. And these indiscriminate weapons continue to take their toll on the lives of innocent people long after the war has ended.
I'm Alvin Hall. 25 years on Wall Street have taught me a lot about business. But now I'm on a new journey around the world, meeting a new breed of entrepreneur, more interested in doing good than making money. Social entrepreneurs. And I want to help. When war in Mozambique ended, there were thought to be 3 million unexploded landmines. Tavani found one of them.
I loaded some logs in my cart. I turned the cart around and I stepped on the landmine. I was blown up. Landmines are everywhere.
Tavani lost a leg. Thousands were even more unlucky.
During wars, landmines are often laid in strategic places like this railroad in Mozambique to protect them. After the war ends, it's the citizens returning to these areas who are vulnerable. I met a social entrepreneur in Tanzania who wants to make the land safe using his unique method.
We've been able to work this out by training a local resource, rats, that actually are very sociable and intelligent creatures.
That's it. Bart Weechen's unique demining method is rats. African pouched rats are trained to sniff out the TNT in landmines. Along with an amazing sense of smell, rats are easy to train. Unlike sniffer dogs, they're cheap to look after and very adaptable. Although I'm sure I'm not the only one who'd rather take Fido for a walk. I traveled to Tanzania to visit Bart's social enterprise, Apopo. First, I met Stevie, a rat trainer. He took me straight in to meet the new recruits.
You can see the hole here.
Yes, they're quite big holes.
No, a little bit. It is, as you see this. You see it like this.
You think that's a small hole?
Yeah, it's small compared to the size of the rat anyway. You see?
I've yet to see one of the rats, and I think I know how big they are. But given the size of this hole, I think I'm going to be really surprised. You want me to come in?
Yes, come in.
Why do I feel that this is not a good idea?
We began to look for the new babies that are about to begin their careers as hero rats. As in the wild, these rats will only give birth in tunnels they dig themselves. It's getting them out that's tricky.
At last, we've hit pay dirt. After being here for almost an hour and 45 minutes, they have some wonderful newborn rats. This is the product that Apopo needs for his landmine detection business.
Next, it's off to see the cages where the young recruits live while waiting for basic training to begin.
They're very gentle, you see? It's quiet, just taking care of what is going on here.
Yes.
You see?
This relationship obviously gets a lot closer than I intend to.
They can smile.
Yeah, the way how it makes noise. When you hold like this.
When you tickle them?
Yeah, when you tickle them like this.
They go.
Yeah, it's doing like that.
I can't even imagine a rat smiling.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine tickling a rat.
Off we go with Stevie's furry friend to the training room. Here, the rats are conditioned to associate the smell of TNT with a food reward.
Oh my goodness. So he bites the hole.
Yeah.
That's the sign.
Biting.
And then you click.
Yeah.
And he gets used to the sound.
Yes.
And then you feed him. And you do this repeatedly every single
Yeah,
time?
it's routine, yes.
So he's biting it again.
So it's biting again.
The idea is they'll want to find mines knowing they'll get fed if they do. Once the rats have learned to associate TNT with the correct behavioral response, it's on to the next stage.
Stevie and I are on our way to the fields where the rats are tested. They'll be asked to find TNT or some other part of a landmine in a big field.
The rats run along a wire so the handlers know which areas the rats have checked. Different amounts of TNT are placed at different depths. The performance of each rat is recorded. While mesmerized by the rats, someone creeps up on me. Social entrepreneur Bart Weetjens, who is also a Buddhist monk.
Is this the way you dress in your monk's outfit?
Yeah.
All the time?
Not all the time.
So you thought of all this, yes?
Yeah, it's my initial idea to use rats for landmine detection, but this is now grown into a team of like over 100 people.
But it all came out of your childhood fascination with rodents, didn't it?
That's where it started, yeah.
Yes.
It's only after graduating as a product design engineer that I focused on landmine problem
Yes.
and looking for an alternative detector, utilizing local resources.
Yes.
That my old buddies, the rats, came back.
Apopo doesn't just clear mines, it removes the fear of them. In 2009, they made safe more than 700,000 square meters of land. In the previous year, Apopo needed 1.26 million euros to cover its costs. Its revenue was just shy of that at 1.25 million. Apopo tells me revenue exceeded spending in 2009, but it's still a fine balance. A new division of Apopo could boost revenues. Since 2002, Bart has been training rats to catch the scent of a very different killer, tuberculosis.
Already there were like 2 million cases at the
Yes.
time per year, and this would grow into 8 million cases.
Yes.
In combination with HIV in an African context, this is
Yes.
a total killer. TB does have a smell, we know that. If people can smell it, then animals must smell it in a much earlier stage.
Yes.
When presented with a sample, a different team of rats can detect TB in the saliva of patients. This is one of the clinics Apopo is working with to develop the screening tool.
How are you? So you collect the samples? Yes. And you prepare them so that he can pick them up? Yes.
TB is hard to detect, and the results can take days to process. Using the rats makes sense to me. They can process as many samples in 7 minutes as a lab technician can in a day. I was told they have even diagnosed TB in patients that conventional tests have missed. But if Apopo manages to isolate the chemical the rats smell in TB, this could benefit a rival technology, an electronic nose. Dr. Mfananga, who is collaborating with Apopo, explains.
That compound needs to be identified. If you are able to identify it, you might be able to sense it electronically, because the other problem with rat is something that have a behavior. If today the rat is tired, you cannot force it.
So will medical professionals risk the lives of their patients on the nose of a rat? And can an electronic smelling technology be a real competitor to Apopo, threatening this revenue stream? While I digested the Apopo annual report, I also made some calls to people who could tell me more.
Bye. I've just spoken to a friend of mine who has knowledge of biotechnology, and he tells me that the electronic nose does exist. But no one has yet to identify what the rats actually smell, and the cost of identifying this molecule and then getting it to the electronic nose could be prohibitive. So, while in theory it may be a challenge to Apopo, on a practical level, it appears to be way off in the future.
While meditating in Bart's Buddhist shrine, I came up with a couple of challenges for him and Apopo. When deployed in the field, the demining teams are paid for the service they provide. But new research and training rely on grants and donations. This can't last forever. They need another way to fund this arm of the business. My second concern relates to another way Apopo generates income, the Hero Rat website. It receives donations, increases landmine awareness, and does a bit of PR for these much maligned animals. The next day, I enlighten Bart and Apopo CEO Christoph with my reflections.
Your Hero Rats project, which interests me a lot. May I say that I am not a lover of rodents, but how much money do people send in to you?
The donations are €5 per month.
Okay.
Many people, they give a one-time donation for a year, like €60. I mean, all kinds of numbers. Some pay €20, some give €200.
Yes. I like those numbers, but I don't like the lowest number of €5, and I'll tell you why. In almost every organization I've been involved with, the number they choose is the number you can get out of an ATM machine. You put your card into that machine, out pops a 20, you go out and buy several drinks. So if you tie it to something like that, something that people spend automatically, it's not so high, actually.
The rats are now a proven technology. Apopo can't continue to rely on research grants. So my next challenge should help them plan for a more financially secure future.
One of the things I've been thinking about making as a long-term objective for you is to develop an endowment for Apopo.
Can I stop a bit?
Yes.
I don't know the word endowment.
It's a big amount of cash that's actually owned by Apopo. An organization or a very rich individual or rich foundation gives you the money, but as a part of that, you use it to invest in or keep it in money market accounts, and then you live off the interest and dividends generated by that money. You may have to hit 2, 3, or 4 people who can write that check to Apopo, and that would become your endowment, giving you the financial freedom that you need.
Now we're at a point where we have proven impact, and actually it's only now that the time is ripe to indeed persuade these larger family foundations and to indeed create an endowment to sustain Apopo so that we can indeed plan long term and enhance our impact considerably.
So those are my challenges for Apopo. But before I left, Bart had one for me. He obviously didn't take me seriously when I said I was not a lover of rodents.
So how do I hold the rat? Okay.
Clearly, bombs and diseases aren't the only things they can detect.
Can they smell my fear?
Of course they smell your fear.
I am being licked by a rat. This is a first.
It's 6 months since I first met Bart and his rat-based landmine clearing business. Now we're in Mozambique, where the rats I saw being trained are now being used in the field to find these brutal weapons.
So yesterday we came from Maputo to Chokwe, and today we're going from Chokwe to Mabalane, where the biggest minefield in Mozambique is situated, along the Limpopo Railway.
And how many rats do you have there?
We have 22 animals now.
Okay.
There.
Well, I look forward to seeing what they're doing.
I want to see the rats in action, but I am nervous about entering the minefield. Will I trust the rats? It is locals, unlucky enough to have found a landmine but live to tell the tale, who point Apopo in the right direction.
Other people have been blown up where I was too. I'm the 4th person being blown up in the same area. So I showed Apopo where it happened.
The rats are woken and taken to the minefield at 5 a.m. They only work a 3-hour shift, not because they have a good union. It's actually because they're naturally nocturnal.
Here, the rats can only work as the sun is rising to avoid the punishing heat. First, a safety briefing, and then we're fitted with protective clothing. The rats are too light to set off the mines, but if I step on one, this equipment might save my life, although it won't stop the blast from destroying my feet and lower legs. You sort of think you're going to be cool about this. You know, I've gone through the training and I walk in here and I can follow directions, but you actually get very nervous and your heart starts to beat a little bit faster because you realize you could step into the wrong place. Bart, how many times is each box scanned by a rat or sniffed by a rat?
Typically twice.
Why twice?
Well, it's an animal, it's a living creature. If it makes an error, the second animal will catch it.
Bart, that's one of the boxes cleared. When you see that happen, how do you feel?
Relieved. This is area that villagers can use again. And square meter after square meter, we open land and create the necessary circumstances for people to develop.
With each meter, the rats are returning the land to the people, where they can collect wood, graze their cattle, or simply walk without fear. I wanted to talk to Bart about what had happened since we last met. Bart, 6 months ago, I gave you 2 challenges. The first one related to your donations and the amount it costs for people to sponsor a hero rat. What have you done with that?
Most importantly, probably, is our new site adoption, which is meant for corporations and organizations. They can name a rat,
Bravo.
the name of their organization, and well, it costs 6,000 euros, but it also gives a financial return to the corporation itself because it's tax effective.
Bravo, bravo, that's really, really good.
Well, it's a step in the right direction.
Exactly. And what about the endowment? I suggested that you set one up for the company. What progress have you made on that?
Well, let me tell you, we were very lucky. Shortly after we met in Tanzania, we happened to be invited by Credit Suisse to give a demonstration of our hero rats in Dar es Salaam. And, well, this resulted in a financial partnership with Credit Suisse.
I get chills. This is good.
So we opened an account in Switzerland, and people also can give there in a tax-effective way to Apopo, and this will build up this endowment, and Credit Suisse is assisting us with the investment portfolio for this endowment.
Free investment management for the endowment is fantastic. However, Bart now has the harder job of persuading large donors how they can help Apopo improve many people's lives. Perhaps the best argument is the efficiency of the rats. 2 men using metal detectors can clear up to 100 square meters per day, but using rats, 2 men can more than double that. Rats are better at detecting mines with very little metal in them, and they don't get distracted by rusty cans or other random metal. These are fragmentation mines, found in the minefield I was in. Now rusted after years of lying in the ground, these horrific weapons still contain a deadly charge. They are designed to fragment into shrapnel, shooting in every direction. Most mines are designed to maim, but these are built to kill. My protective equipment would not have saved me. What must it be like living so close to such deadly ground? I went to meet December, who, like so many men his age, is a veteran of the Civil War. Now a charcoal producer, he lives just meters from the edge of the minefield. I'm told he knows more than most about landmines.
I was a soldier. I planted the mines, so I know where they are. I was doing my job for the government. It's what we're taught to do.
Did you ever imagine that they would be around today to hurt people?
That's why I want them removed. They are destroying lives. If only we were shown how to disarm mines when we planted them. They blow us up too. We are not developing because of them.
December now works with Apopo to show them where he planted mines. The former minefield behind his house, littered with cattle bones, reminds him of its perils. But now he can collect wood safely. Electricity lines destroyed during the conflict are being rebuilt. The town of Mabalane will have power for the first time in decades. With so much at stake, even fully trained rats are constantly assessed to ensure they can be relied upon. And with so many landmines still to be found throughout the world, we could be relying on them for many years to come.
Momai is finding the scent. He gets it well, no problems.
The difficult one is Timo. Timo is not doing well here. He almost had a day off today, but that's his way. The rest of the guys are doing okay.
The world is still full of landmines. Apopo believes that it may take 500 years to rid us of these killers at current rates. I really hope my advice will help Apopo get the job done faster. Next time, I'm in Malawi, discovering that there's more to beating HIV than just drugs alone.